This is Fam Electric Ghost, and we're live on the air with ZeXzy. We're going to talk about his rise in music from Nigeria to North America. And I want to welcome you to the show. Welcome to the Fam Electric Ghost podcast. How you doing?
I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. It's your boy, the Z, the E, the X to the ZY. ZeXzy. All the way from Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria. I'm right here in New York. And feels good to be here today on this podcast. I'm blessed. I'm honored to be here. Thank you so
Well,
much for having me.
well, it's great to talk to musicians, and you're a really established and notable musician. You're an Afrobeats artist, but you don't want to be boxed in by genre. You've worked with a lot of cool people like Lil Wayne and Quavo, and you create music that kind of connects culture, inspires people globally. And that's like I love music that's universal, that's
Yeah,
like coming from everywhere.
yes.
Um, and it's cool to talk to a musician. So we're gonna have a good time.
Thank you so much. I always feel musicians get me better because sometimes you're trying to explain some things to people, just like like the boring side of doing one thing over and over again. Because I describe myself as an eclectic musician and doing the same genre over and over again. And being a musician yourself, you understand that every genre has its peculiar sounds
Yeah,
and the tones and everything. So there's a point you get to where you plateau and you just get tired of using like the same set of lyrics. Like, most times hip hop, you talk more about girls and
yeah,
lifestyle and all of that. And not to box any genre into just one frame, but there are things that are more expressive in a particular genre, because hip hop is more of a swagger genre. you
yeah.
you tend to brag more and talk more about yourself and stuff. So there are times I'm feeling like that, and it's I want to express myself that way. But what if I'm vulnerable and I
Hmm.
want to I want to I want to really show that vulnerability? I probably want to sing and I want to use my falsetto. So hip hop may
Yeah.
not cut it for me because I'm trying to show that pain in my voice.
Yeah, if you're trying to echo like the Delphonics or echo, like Temptations, like really great falsettos and soul music, you
Yes,
know, yeah, that's
that
a big thing. If you're like trying to be like Smokey
exactly.
Robinson.
Yeah, there's this song I did where I sang. Uh, it was at a very tough time in my life when um, you're having all sort of thoughts. I'm pretty much solid psychologically, but a lot of people at that point in their life may want to contemplate bad things, suicide
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that. So for me, I felt like I needed to do something to show my vulnerability, and that was why I did that song titled "Live" with Versus. He's a Canadian rapper.
Hmm.
I said, I choose to live. Oh, when I'm empty inside, I'd rather rise and flow. I choose to breathe. So for me, I was so much in touch with my soul and I wanted to bear it as I felt it. And when a song comes to me like that, I don't want to adulterate it. I feel like we as musicians, we try to go back to our brand. Oh, because I'm a hip hop musician, I don't want to sound this way. I don't want
Yeah.
girls to catch me off guard. I'm supposed to be this tough guy who's portraying this macho image, and I think it takes away from the pool of artistic diversity because we're always trying to fit into a frame rather than just let the inspiration lead.
But that's what I love about the vulnerability of like a singer-songwriter. If you think of like a Marvin Gaye, when he got tired of the Motown machine, he did What's Going On. He's like, I'm like, he
What's
was
going on?
because
What's going on?
Marvin's a great singer, but he was a drummer and he was a
Wow.
songwriter. And
Yeah.
so he got tired of being given songs by the song machine. The Funk Brothers are great
Hmm.
and Smokey's great, but
Hmm.
Marvin could write his own stuff. And so he
Yes.
wanted to kind of be free of that machine. And Stevie Wonder had the same problem. Like eventually he's like, I want to be free of that structure, even though it's great and it creates hits. It was like Hitsville.
Hmm.
But sometimes it's like making the hit wasn't the point. What's going on was like a concept album about the ecology, about about
Politics.
political things, and he wanted to make a statement. It wasn't like Motown was like, "Oh, we don't even know if we want to put this out."
Exactly. Okay. Take for example, there's this, and there's something I liked about Marvin. When you listen to him, you could feel his pain. Even when he did, baby, I woke up this morning, they were storming inside of me. There's that pain in that little husky voice, and and when you over control the creative process of a musician, you may not get the best of him. That's what sometimes the industry machines don't understand. The more you try to curate the artist, I mean, it's fine from a managerial aspect, but
Mhm.
sometimes you need to allow the artist express himself and how he's feeling. The last song on this album I'm about to drop, Every Sound. I mean, you can just tell from the title of the album that it's going to be like the most eclectic album this world has ever seen. Like it's just going to be me changing tones, changing sound from song to song. And the last song on the album is titled So Much. And what brought that song to me was, I had been inundated so much with the wars, the rumors of war, like when I'm watching news, and I see that, Russia is now attacking Ukraine, and then the next thing, October 7th happens, Israel moves into Palestine, and then they're trying to get Israel to stop, and they won't stop, and how many lives lost on October 7th? The world supported you, but now you're just going on and on and on. You just don't want to stop. And this song just came to me like, there's so much going on. Russia is at war. Ukraine is for more. NATO close this door. And there's so much going on. AI takes the floor. Man is left in awe. Rove is not the law. And there's so much going on. There's so much going on. Like, when my management initially heard the song, they were not crazy about it, but I was crazy about it because there's something in my heart that I want to speak on it. People think that you shouldn't probably be talking about politics and
Yeah,
events.
management never wants you to talk about politics.
but if I don't get it off my chest, I'm gonna feel like I'm doing a disservice to the world. And when you're artistically not satisfied, it, no matter what you do, there's always going to be a yearning inside of you, and I think that's what leaves a deep hole in most artists sometimes because they are not truly themselves. They are not telling the stories they want to tell.
Yeah,
I've
well,
heard.
everybody's trying to chase the dream. They're always trying to chase the algorithm. But and my point, as an artist, is like the first thing you do, like the reason you're an artist, the people who stay in it, is because they love music.
Mhm.
And the problem is, some artists get put on that like gravy train. They get put on into the roller coaster, right? They get put on it, and management will want you start getting responsibilities. You're responsible for your team. You're responsible for all your roadies. You're responsible. So then you get guilt tripped into maybe compromising to keep the enterprise going. And was the point to create the enterprise, was the point to actually create the music.
Exactly, but here's how I see it. I believe life has so many parts, and this takes me right back into my forthcoming album, Every Sound. Like it touches on every side of humanity. So much is just a song that I wanted to encapsulate all of the things that has happened in the world and that are happening right now, in one song, right? And then there is another song that talks about the fact that I don't want to be boxed into one category of music, and that one is titled Beast. And then there is another song that is very very commercial, um, has a pop feel. It's an EDM. It's danceable. It's a danceable song. So
Is
if you
that
need to
like the
go to the
target
club,
single? Is that the one you want to be the single, or you haven't decided?
that one has dropped already.
Yeah.
That one has dropped already. There's this other joyous beautiful song. It's a dancehall song, original. It's a song where I'm just saying, the girls them run follow away, yo. You boys are all wanna be yo. You copy but counterfeit. It's a dancehall song. Like you can put it on you can play it anywhere and people will dance. So I think a healthy balance of everything is what makes for a robust body of work. But when you keep doing the same thing over and over, and you're just probably talking about girls, and maybe because you talked about girls on your first song, people are going to get bored. People are going to you're going to talk about how big the booty is, and then how slim the booty is, and then at some point people are going to be like, "Man, guys, give us something different."
Well, yeah,
Oh,
the kind of like I had a question because like you're album focused because you have an album, but
yeah,
what I've noticed in the industry is kind of based on singles. It's kind of based on playlist, and I'm a child of the '70s, and I like albums, like Intervisions, songs in the key of life. What's going on. I like to. I feel that a single does not represent the depth of an artist, right?
yeah.
Like the album usually shows you who that artist is.
Yes, you can get to then tap into his different sides, because there are different sides to every human being. The fact that you're laughing now, you're all cordial with me, doesn't mean that if I step on your toes, the beast in you won't come out. It's human nature. So there is a part of you that can show, the part of you that can be a beast. There's a part of you that is an angel, and you may want to express that on another song. But to your point, I think the algorithmic system of doing things is killing music, uh, because we are now trying to create trends. We're trying to recreate what somebody else has done before. And that leads to this formulaic method of wanting to do music, or just do it 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Even if I have so much I still want to talk about. Um, just talk about girls because that's what everybody wants to listen to. Talk about wealth because that's what everybody wants to listen to. But I really don't want. I don't think human beings as shallow as the industry wants to make them look. I think human beings have a lot of depth, and but because the industry doesn't want to do so much work to reach down to that depth, to market down to that depth, they just want to do something on the surface, and if it blows up, oh, why do we have to dig deep if we can get these people dancing? And
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if the people like, if you go look in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, like the older situation with music was, you know, it seems like today people have too many choices. So you've got a consumer that's so distracted, right? They're watching their Netflix, they're on the TikTok, they're
Hulu.
on their phone, they're on their laptop. They're not sitting in like I'm a child of the 70s. I actually was sitting listening to songs like Key and Life on vinyl. So it means I didn't when I went to listen to that album, I listened to the whole thing, even the 78s, the whole thing. The whole thing was like 2, 3 CDs with a 78. And so when you went to listen to it, you listened to the whole thing. And
And
I don't think people are that focused as the audience anymore.
I think so. I think so too. The attention span now is very short, and everybody's trying to see how much they can suck, your attention in. Okay, it's like even when you look at most musicians these days, when they want to drop an album, all of a sudden drama starts happening around them. You can tell that, okay, something is coming, because you need to draw
PR.
those attention to yourself. Because nowadays, I usually tell folks around me, music marketing has changed. If it was at a time when you just had TV and radio and certified media outlets, and you can get on those certified media outlets, you're blown. Because it's
Yeah,
almost
DJ got you, maybe
DJ,
there was some payola, but like the DJ put you on
the
in,
radio.
in a market, like you're big in New York, you're big in Chicago, you're big in LA, you're big in Kingston, you're big wherever. Like you're in a market, and you're in London market or whatever, you blow up, you
Mhm,
know?
mhm. So when you have a system where everything, but then it was also very hard to break into the music business because there was a lot of gatekeeping.
Yeah, Gates.
Yeah, because if you don't go through the people who control those channels and those stations, you can't get heard, no matter how good you are. But I also think that there was more regulation then because you could tell just the quality of the music back then, how good it is. I still listen to old school music more than I listen to the new school.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's a problem, I think, because like if you had like if there's no gatekeeper, there's no kind of quality control. There's
yes,
no if you look at the level of work being done on Motown, right? You look at the Motown system. You look at the level of musicianship of their studio musicians, the level of musicianship of their artist, and the training that they went through. They
yes,
went through like etiquette. They went through dance classes. They went through all this stuff to make them a certain level of entertainer that you had to raise to a certain bar to even get into the arena.
exactly. I was watching a movie on the Temptations, and I could see the grueling process. Just coming to the office alone, Hitsville it felt like you had made it to heaven, and you wanted to give it your all. And there were people in every department to help you groom your voice, to help you dance, and all that made you a well-rounded musician. And performance became more like a hobby. You go there, you do your thing, you enjoy yourself. um Even if you don't want to work, people would make you work.
Yeah, it's a
uh,
discipline, the level of discipline.
yeah, so now what you find is that sometimes when you're even disciplined, people are thinking like, why is this guy putting himself through so much when the other guy doesn't have to? He just does something controversial. The algorithm picks him up and he becomes this famous human being. And then you're just there slaving yourself in the gym, or in the studio, or you're trying to get your, like, people don't even care about quality that much anymore, except you really, really make intentional move to put that quality in their faces, where they can compare between what they have been listening to and what they now have in their presence. So it's a lot of work right now to even break through the noise. You
Yeah,
know,
there's a lot of noise because I think a lot of times also you've got producers that have signature sounds, and because they blew up, everybody's using the same pads. They're using the same 808. They're using the same drum machines. They're all using the same, even saying using the same samples. You're
using the
using
same
the same
samples.
stems. You're using everything. It's like,
Yeah, and that's where, for me, I think there's a way to use the formula of the industry. Like, if I wanted to do a single and I felt like, okay, my label says, we think of all the songs that you have, everyone who has listened to it thinks this one that is just 2 minutes 30 seconds is the one that will fly. Then fine, go with that one. But I know that I'm going to satisfy myself with like 10 other tracks on the album.
mhm.
I'm gonna get my artistic feel from the other songs. So if that song can get the people in, bring them into the album, and then they get to see all of the fine musical works that you have. For That's how I've discovered some artists on TikTok, and then I went to listen to their body of work. But in many cases, I wasn't happy because it just seemed like the 20 seconds clip was the only fun thing about
About
that
what they were
in,
doing.
that individual. And that's because we're tying ourselves to this formula of just do this 20 seconds thing, we'll loop it over and over again, and then people get to like you. There are artists right now that are faded out because they were tied to the algorithm, and they still don't have loyal fans because these are just folks looking for the next trendy thing.
Yeah, it's like if you got like a million views, right? But you gotta look at the conversion rate. Like, so if somebody got a million views, right, but they're diehard fans, they only got less than 1% of
Exactly.
our diehard fans, right? I'd rather have like 100,000 guys, right, and then have a retention ratio of like 5%, like
Yeah.
8%. Then
Yeah.
you got people who are actually buying your LP, showing up, buying your T-shirt, showing up at the concert, actually going and checking out everything you put out. You get
Yeah, but,
super
but
fans.
yeah, but it's so hard to escape that loop in an industry where whoever is funding your music wants to make his money back. He wants to make sure that whatever he's putting into the business is secure. So if you keep wanting to do you and satisfy your artistic, cravings,
Mm.
it's not bringing in the money.
Yeah, it's not bringing the
Some
cash.
point, yes, at some point, that source where you're getting the funding to push the music is going to dry up. Music is a capital intensive business. If I had not gone in and people, there were times people used to tell me when I was still outside of the game that it took $1 million to take this artist to where he is right now, and I would say, come on, $1 million, I don't think it's that expensive. But when you come into the game and you see what needs to be done, how much a stylist costs, and how much it is to get you in front of people, how much it is to run ads,
Yeah, it's a
then
lot.
you'll be like, oh, this thing costs a lot of money. So when that investor is trying to capitalize and telling you to go with the trend, it's very hard to blame him or her.
No, it's a business decision. So it's kind of a hard thing because like if you're like an underground artist, you could be like, I'm gonna be kind of starving artist, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and do it myself, like DIY. I'm gonna go book myself. I'm gonna be very small. Maybe I never get more than 50,000, 100,000, 150,000 fans.
The funny thing is,
But
you
maybe you're happy with that or not. I don't know.
you know when they said if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go with people. I learned that along my musical journey that there is no you can't do it by yourself. There is just practically impossible. Um, Sometimes even in the process of making the music, when I'm in the studio with my friends, my manager, the producer, I always ask for their opinion. Like, do you think, what do you think about these lyrics? What do you think about this
It's a
using?
team
Yeah,
sport. It's not
yeah.
not just it's not something that even if you're a solo artist, you got a team.
You need to have a team,
Yeah.
because the misconception I had was that, oh, I'm just a solo musician, I just need to take decisions myself, I'm just going to be free, because I was in a group when I was coming up. And then of course you needed to work as a team, you need to run it by everyone. You may like the first verse more, but then the verse suits your teammates, your group mates voice more, and then he has to take the verse. So now you can just do anything you like. But it took me time to realize that even when you're a solo artist, people still have to make critical decisions that will help you. There's this song I have, I'm a piano. I actually didn't want to feature anybody on that song because I thought I had the song all figured out, the structure, everything. I was very adamant to get somebody on it, but my manager back then, he went behind my back, and then he got this lady, Sophia Unzao from Kenya, and then she did her thing on the song. And when the first time he played it to me, I was so glad I didn't stop him or I wasn't in his way, uh,
Mhm.
encouraging him to get that girl on that song. Like, the song became something else from just the verse she did on that song. And today it's having a lot of impact. It's on number 2 YouTube now in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
Oh,
That's
wow.
because that she's from East Africa and they really love the song over
You
there.
spoke to her. The fans picked up on it, there's like a law of attraction. And
Yes, they
sometimes
really love it.
sometimes the song you like needs something. And if you're working with a team, you're working with a recording engineer, you're working with a producer, you're working with other people in the studio, and they can hear it. Like sometimes you have tunnel vision
You
if
have
you're a
tunnel vision.
writer, right?
Yeah, and you realize that no matter how broad you think your mind is still so limited, compared to people who will just see from a totally different angle. Why I say that is I'm the kind of musician who I can start a verse with one melody, I can twist the melody in the second verse. I see myself as someone who literally features different people in one song, even if I'm the only person taking the song.
Hmm.
But there is still that unique thing that somebody would just, okay, like when I was working on Beast and the hip hop song on this album, and I was doing my thing, and then a friend of mine was just doing the melody, was just humming the melody, and I was like, wow, that sounds very nice. I think we can put it underneath my rap and it will give it more soul. And that was,
Layer it.
yeah, that was what we did. And it totally changed the song. It looked like a minute addition, but in the wholeness of the song, it's such a big addition, you know? So I used to think football was, you need team. Without your team, you can't survive. But going into music,
Yeah.
the depth I have come to realize that music is just like football and
Or
just
just like a
any
team
other sport.
sport. But
Yeah.
also, it's like once you get to the studio, it's like there's this thing that can happen, right? Because you write your demo and you got tunnel vision. You say it's supposed to be this. You bring it into the studio, and then you got recording engineers and producers, and they might come in with some music theory or some ideas, right? And they say, "Hey, what if we change this chord?" Right?
Hmm.
What if we bring the drum up or we bring it down? What if we add a shadow vocal? What
Hmm.
if we add this layer? And it's really sometimes, like you said, it can be this little minute change, but it's like a painting. Like I always look at things like talking music in terms of painting. Like Hendrix had this idea, sound paintings.
Hmm.
And on Electric Ladyland, somebody asked him, "Like, what is all this?" They say it's a sound painting. I'm using my guitar to create color, and there's all these layers, and it was layered. It was using he was using multi tracks, which were starting to come into vogue, like 8 and 16 track multi tracks, and he was layering a lot of stuff compared to the earlier records, and he was starting to come out with these kind of Sergeant Pepper like layers, and people are like, "Oh, you can use the studio like it's a canvas," you
Yes.
know?
For I was working with a producer one time. I didn't even know what parts in the music was. I just knew that some songs sounded nice. I didn't even know the ingredients that has gone into that recording to make it sound that nice. So I was working with the label's in-house producer. I was still then in Lagos, Nigeria, and then he would tell me, okay, do this part, and then use a baritone voice for here, use an alto voice here, use a tenor voice, and then when he joins the sounds together and the different recordings, it just formed this beautiful harmony. I was like,
Like a big
okay.
choir of yourself. Like you can do a choir of your own voice.
Yes. So this is how Michael Jackson makes his music sound better. Or this is how this other person. So I got to understand from working with people how to make music more beautiful than even as I had imagined it, because I have this very vivid imagination of how I want music to sound. I could want a theater type of production, like the O Africa song on this album.
Hmm.
I wanted you to be lost in this
Like a
theater,
movie, like you brought into a movie.
like a movie soundtrack.
Yeah, yeah.
Dun, 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 da, 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 dun. The sound like a coliseum of some sort. And the producer knew just where to go. And, the type of, we used some cashmere kicks, and the sound is so heavy. And, the ideas just started coming because once we had that theater feeling and sound going, um, I started to imagine myself in the safari. Like what kind of sounds if I was lost in the safari, I'm in South Africa, I'm in Kenya, and it's late at night, what kind of animal sounds would I be imagining? Or would I be hearing? We
Mhm.
started to put in some tiger sounds, lion sounds, hyena sounds,
Yeah, it's
owl.
like field recordings. A lot of old musicians, like we used to back in the day, people used to take like field recordings of like rivers, of
Yeah,
animals, of
yeah,
all, and then they would, now you can sample and just bring them in. But people used to actually go and get it. They would actually go out with a field recorder and get the sound.
yeah. Imagine, I think Michael Jackson did that with one of his producers. There was a particular song they were working on, and he asked him to go to the wild to get the sound of a bird or something like that to get inspired. But um, we had to get all of these sounds and place them strategically in different parts of the production. Until now, when people listen to that song, they just tell you like they feel lost in this
They pulled in.
theatrical world. This recording, like they can't just explain what it is because sometimes they can't really pinpoint what animal is where.
Hmm.
But but just the unexpected sound of a squealing horse. And didn't see that coming. And then there is the elephant. It was just we. Those are the things I love about creativity: ability to go in formless. Yes, you could have a broad vision of what you want, but allowing other people to come in with their ideas, and
Yeah.
you guys just keep you just it's
But
just an
sometimes it's
open
like a
line.
flow state. Like when I
Yeah,
run into people, it's like flow state or it's happy accident. Like,
exactly.
you
It's
know,
a blank check, and everyone is putting in their billions of dollars of ideas, and then you come up with this very beautiful, you know, sound that the world gets to hear, and you're proud of. So for me, that creative process is very key.
what do you think about like some of the music today? You kind of like talked about like your people are limited in how long songs can be. And being a musician myself, I like a lot of progressive or jazz or fusion or funk. You or listen to Parliament Funkadelic, those songs are long
Yeah,
and they have a lot of timing changes. They have key changes. They have polyrhythms. They're kind of complex. And it seems like today people like to stick with like grooves or loops, and
yes.
they don't do like they don't have like a song structure where something might have a crescendo or decrescendo. They don't have breaks, they don't have timing changes, they don't have alternate lyrics here and something like a build up. They don't seem to have that.
I think all of those things are destroying the industry. If we could have a stakeholders meeting, everyone in the music business, from producers to the marketers to the industry execs, if we can all really sit down and ask ourselves, yes, I know it's a business, we can still make money. If people are going to consume music, whether you make it short or long, whether you try to use a formula or not, people are going to consume music. Why don't we just let music? I'm a very in terms of music, I would say I'm both conservative and liberal. Conservative in the sense that I want music to remain pure, to remain something that touches the soul anytime you listen to it. It gives you a message. I mean, not all songs necessarily have to be, you know, preaching
Message songs,
morality
yeah.
and all that. But even a song like "Sexual Healing" by Marvin Gaye, you feel it. When you hear it, you're in that mood to make love, because that's the message it's passing to you. When you listen to Tupac, "Baby, don't cry. You gotta keep your head up, even when the bone is hot. Never give."
Yeah, he's telling a story. I mean, he's actually and the songwriting, even in those two examples, is songwriting. Like it's not all hook writing. And I
Exactly.
think there's a lot of people who are stuck in like if they got the hook, they got the whole song.
They got the hook. They just want to hurry through the song. We don't have a build up. You can't really enjoy it. I was listening to was it a is it a comedian that said it, or it was a meme where the person was saying how disappointed you feel after hearing a 15 seconds TikTok trend, and then you're disappointed at the other parts of the song. And that's the kind of legacy that this modern day music industry is leaving behind, because people Shazam your song, they think it's a great song because of the 15 seconds trend, and then they go check out the music. It's probably a repetition of the same thing, or there's no build up, there's no crescendo, nothing. um I have songs where I didn't go through like all of the conservative stages of the way music used to be, but I still have songs that I
To
pay
do
attention to
that.
the details, and I'm writing the song. Like the rock song on this album, "Every Sound," Stockholm. I'm building up the story. These walls don't pay. How come this place is caved? There seems no stair, solitary confinement here. I'm in the middle of a rocky storm. Ain't gonna need someone to walk me home. Can't believe right now what I've become. Stuck in home. You know, I,
It sounds
I'm,
like a
I'm
pop. It sounds like pop rock. I mean, you've got
oh,
a pop rock
yeah,
influence there. Yeah.
pop rock, it's slow rock. I'm just talking about being stuck with this girl. She's hurting me. She's doing all sort of crazy stuff. But the Stockholm syndrome wouldn't let me let her go. Now I'm addicted to the pain she brings and all
Add
of
some
the crazy.
depth because you bring in a concept. Like a lot of songs today don't have that like a little like Easter egg, or they don't have it, so you have to actually think about the lyrics. Like if somebody
Yeah,
might doesn't know what Stockholm Syndrome is, they go back and they have to actually look, right? And
yeah,
so sometimes you have to go back and listen. It's like, oh, this guy is saying this.
yeah. So
This means that. And so like I say Easter egg, it's like what writers do in books. Like, they
exactly.
throw these things in that make you have to pay attention.
Yeah. And your ability to paint that picture without hurrying the picture. You build from the verse into the chorus, into the bridge, into the guitar interlude somewhere, and you're not trying to hurry the song. And that's why for me, I have songs that, okay, if this is what the industry wants, you want something that you can dance to on TikTok, take that one. But you see, when you come into the album, and I know you're going to love those other songs more because
Mhm,
I know that you have depth as a human being. You want to hear something deep. The TikTok loops are good for TikTok, but as a human being, you want to hear something that speaks to your soul. I had a friend who told me one time that he listened to Leave. There was a time he played that song on loop for hours. That the song just kept ministering to him,
mhm.
choosing life over depression, over suicide, and all of that. So I know that, and this is a guy who is a very, very jumpy guy. He likes to get things going. He's not the type that likes to really like sit down and pay attention to things. But that song ministered to him, and the song is about, it's almost 4 minutes long. But if I know that if I hurried, I won't be able to take you through the ranges of emotion.
Mhm.
I know that I need to quietly build you into it or slowly build you into it. So I think human beings still have that quality in them to seek for depth. So you can satisfy both by giving them what they want in terms of the snappy, easily remembered TikTok loop. But if they come into your album and your body of work, what are they going to find?
Well,
You,
music is like nourishment for the soul, but if you have people that sell it like a widget, like if you treat music like a widget, you treat it like a commodity,
yeah,
which I can understand maybe you're a business guy, you're gonna do that. But music at its heart is something that serves the soul. So if you
yeah.
lose sight that it serves the soul and you only think of it as a commodity, then you can have a disconnect.
And I think we can marry both, and which is the message I'm preaching, even on this album. We now live in a world where, um, if you're black, some people don't expect you to like white people. If you're white, some people don't expect you to like black people.
Very
So
separate,
if
yeah.
if you even as much as commend a white person, oh, why are you commending him? If you have a white friend, so now you're cool with the white people,
Yeah,
you're
you
not cool with
sold
us
out.
anymore.
You
Like,
sold
it
out.
doesn't.
You sold out.
Yeah, you sold out, you're this, you're a coon. And or if somebody of your color does something wrong and you say this is wrong, no, you should have spoken up. No, when something is wrong, is wrong.
Yeah, it
And
doesn't matter. It's
and,
wrong.
and, and it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can have both.
Well, it can be like shades of gray, you don't have to be black and white, on and off, left and right. A lot of things in the world are more complicated than that.
Exactly. And the world is much more beautiful when we have different shades and different colors and different, and that's why I love creativity, because I can actually be anything I want to be. I can sing however I want to sing. I can do whatever it is that I want to do. And that's how I also see life. I love all people. I love Latinos. I love black people. I love white people. And I think we all bring different things to the table. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be
Yeah.
everything together. You can love all people. You
Yeah, I
don't.
think we're kinda living in a world where people wanna be in their camp.
Yeah,
They pick different camps and you gotta stay on this side of the road, right? This
Yeah.
camp's
And
over on this side, that camp's on the other side, and you're never supposed to mix.
yeah,
And
and then
that's never been the situation. It's
and
never
and,
really
and
been the
it's not a
situation.
realistic, depiction of what life should be. There is no way you'd say, I'm just this happy guy, I never get offended, or I'm just this guy who's constantly offended, I'm never happy. I hear, like, I was listening to a lady rant, about how you probably would have listened to the clip too. I think her name is something Welsh. How white people should not go into Mexican stores; they should stick to themselves. She's actually white, and they should stick to their Cracker Barrel. And she was saying all sorts of things, since you don't appreciate culture. And I'm like, who do you think you're helping in the long run? You think you're sticking up for minorities, but then you're telling a huge chunk of their business base not to come and shop
Yeah.
with them. Are
It's
you
never been
actually
the
doing them?
thing. I mean, the whole thing is like the melting pot of America
Yeah, are
has
you doing
always
them?
been like the fact of all these immigrants came together and we're all influencing each other, right?
We're all influenced. So are you doing them a service by telling them that white people shouldn't come to their shops? You think they would appreciate that message?
No,
So so you're actually doing more harm than good by saying that. If I had a business, why would I care if your dollar is white or black?
well, you want as many people to come in and buy your product. Like you don't want to segment to a particular party or group or
Yeah.
social group.
You
Like if
just
you're selling your widget, you want everybody to buy the widget, right?
Exactly. So why would I care if I'm doing a concert and I'm using Madison Square Garden or the Tottenham Stadium, and maybe it's an 80,000 seating capacity, and then why would I care if you're white or black? I just want the ticket sales.
Yeah,
So
you
you
want
going
them
to
to
tell
fill the
people,
stadium.
look, ZeXzy's music is not for you people. Stay away. No, I don't want you to
Well,
do
think
that.
about sports. Because somebody goes to see a big sports team, is it
Mhm.
only supposed to be like just a certain segment of that society, or you want to fill the whole stadium?
Exactly. So
I mean, come on. It's the
I
same thing
really
with
don't
anything else.
understand. And then you see some people who are so tribal minded. They start to bigger people like that, and then I also think too that if you're a smart person, you should also know when people are trying to trend. Because the reason we're talking about her here is because of her outlandish statement. She knows what she's doing.
But yeah, well, that's how you trend. That's how the algorithm works. The more outrageous
Now,
you are,
rage
the
bait.
more controversial you are, the higher you rank. And so people are doing things to just rank high in the
Exactly.
algorithm,
But
and
but
that's not
here
what you want.
But here's what the people who are not so smart do. They hang on to those things because they already have an inferiority complex. So you want to hang on to a rant from somebody who's trying to go viral as gospel. A white lady said this, and you run around with it. For me, and then I listened to somebody who said, if we're all going to start preventing each other from participating in each other's culture. Okay, if white folks say, you know what, we made the airplane, don't fly our plane.
Yeah, don't fly on
It doesn't make sense.
it. We
Like,
made Henry Ford made the Model Ts, like, we shouldn't have cars?
yeah. So what, are you gonna try to work? So when I look at people like that, and I kind of get the game they're playing because we're in a system where you're trying to get people to rage bait and focus on you. Um, but my message to everyone is always to look at the motive why people do stuff, to be able to know how to respond. I won't I don't take people on the surface. I question their motive. I try to find out what they're trying to achieve, and then I know how to roll. I'm not gonna just go with the flow just because it's
Yeah. Well, I think it's a lot of people playing games, because I always talk about, like, I was a political science major in college, and this kind of idea of balance of power. And if you go back to the 30s and the World War II, it's like things get out of balance, right? You have the lessons of World War II were like, you have the people who were like, they basically had this idea of divide and conquer nationalism.
yep.
And nationalism got to the point that it got so volatile, we ended up in a world war. So
Just
when you have an international balance, after World War II, We had
Yeah.
this international kind of equilibrium, right?
Hmm.
Where we had more of a UN, more world peace, world concepts, not just one over the other, trying to get a more balanced world. And now we've gone back to kind of tribalism, nationalism,
Yes.
separation. And it only did, if you go back to the lessons of the 30s, it goes back to that. You want to go back to that? You want to have a world war? Is that what you want?
I actually think civilization has plateaued and we are decivilizing right now.
Yeah, we're going
Because
backwards.
there are things that there are things that I see now, and I thought we'd gone past those things, and then to see them still keep happening, I'm asking myself, is it that we've not learned from our history, our past, and eh, we just keep going through these cycles, and
Well,
you
we
know,
have some people that want to do what they call disruptive. There's an ideology of disruption.
yeah,
And there's some people there, and it's kind of really big in the tech industry because I'm in the tech. That's my day job. And in the tech world, there's these people who have a very dystopian point of view. They think if you break everything, they think if you let everything fall apart, then some kind of
review.
new world will come from that breakage. But they don't seem to care about the collateral damage.
Yeah. I mean, I was on Twitter yesterday. Sam Altman and Elon Musk were going at it over Open AI and XAI, and those guys, they fight $1 billion fights.
Yeah,
Elon Musk made a proposition to Sam Altman to sell Open AI for $97 billion, and he replied him no, and the whole internet went crazy. But I think even with the rise of AI. I had a discussion with somebody the other day. Um, I said, even my phone won't let me calculate money and even try to figure out, okay, 200,000 plus 100,037. It won't even let me use my brain. The minute I say plus, if I put equals, it just brings out the amount.
yeah,
And I told him, I said, we're going to get to a point where human beings are going to be so dumb
yeah.
because we're not even using our brain cells
We're gonna
anymore.
lose our critical thinking. I mean, this is
Our
a big
critical
problem.
thinking.
Yeah,
because here is what some of the things we undermine right now, and we don't even think they are important for us. When you solve mathematics in class, when you were in school, when 2/3 divided by 5/4, and then you go through the process and you arrive at an answer, you don't know that you're training yourself to be able to look at a problem and resolve it systematically
yeah. Without a machine.
without a machine. So now when you train kids who will just go to ChatGPT and throw in an assignment, and it gives them the answer, and they go to class and they score 100 over 100. At the end of the day, what will happen eventually is that those kids will grow up and not realize that there is a process to everything, because not everything that machine can solve for you. You're going to have issues with your wife that requires you guys to go through critical thinking. Okay, you did this. Oh, this was the reason why this led to this. If you had not done this, then we wouldn't have gotten to this point where we started yelling at each other.
We're gonna lose your logical reasoning.
You're
Like,
going to lose everything because
yeah,
you're
you
going
lose all that. And then the other thing is like you can't fix. Like you're gonna get to a point where you can't fix the machine. Like if you get people that don't understand the foundation, the
of the machine.
fundamentals, then
Yeah,
they can't even repair the machine.
yeah, because all the guys who created the machines would have been long gone.
Yeah,
So I think, and trust me, these were all of the things I sang about on so much. I talked about, the fact that social media, which was meant to bring us together, it's not driving us apart, because sometimes you have this friend, he starts to get a lot of followers, maybe because he's a social media influencer, and then he wants to delay the responses to your texts. You guys have hung out together. You know that he's not that busy not to have seen your text. But now, because he sees himself as a king in his own little world, he has hundreds of thousands of followers. Now he has to delay replying you to show that he's someone who is
he's
important.
big. They're big.
The big, and this is the social media that was supposed to bring us together. I mean, when there was no social media, people took flights to go see their loved ones, and when there were no planes, people would, go through canoes or whatever they had to use. Sometimes even use a bicycle to write to see their loved ones, and then
Oh
they
yeah.
write letters and everything, and then there was so much appreciation for the effort that it took for someone to try to reach out to you. But now that that gap has been so bridged, we abuse that gap. We don't
Yeah,
even
we kinda
want.
don't know how to even talk.
We
Like,
don't even.
yeah,
Yes.
you have people that get together and they're looking at their phone. They're at dinner looking at the phone. Like, used to be that a dinner was where you could have a meaningful
Oh,
conversation. You
yep.
go to a dinner now and somebody's getting pinged, right? And they're not paying attention to the conversation, and the conversation has no depth.
Yeah, and I think we all need to return back to some values and some things. Um, we all need to figure out a structure, especially in the home front. So if you're a parent, you can look at your own nuclear family and decide, okay, for my kids, this is the time to look at your tabs. Past this time, you're not supposed to look at your tabs. If you're on the table with us and you want to eat, there's no looking at the
No,
tabs.
no phone.
Yeah, yeah. TV time stops because if you don't put those things in place, we're going to raise a generation of kids that they can't
Can't
focus on
communicate. You
anything.
know, we run into it in IT. We got people, sometimes we get new college grads to come in and they don't have the ability to solve the critical problems that we thought they should have.
Yeah,
And we're like, "What?"
because
And
machine took them through a lot of shortcuts to get to
yeah,
where they are right
there's
now.
so many shortcuts when they haven't really done the hard work. They've used so many, like, they're using the tools as like they're so dependent on the Google search and now the Gemini search or the ChatGPT search. They don't know how to go and use the Dewey Decimal System. They can't go into a library and do their own research. They don't know how to do endnotes. They don't know how to go and check resources to make sure they're not plagiarizing. They don't make sure that they actually are correct in their theories,
Hmm.
and so that we run into people actually presenting like bad data. It's like garbage in, garbage out. It's like you're not giving us good information. You're cloning or copying other people's stuff and not citing it. Um, so it's this, like, that is not very helpful. I mean, you might be fast, right? But being fast and giving me the wrong answer doesn't help me.
Exactly. And I there's this sometimes when I go for a walk, there's this Asian couple that I see. I see them gardening behind their house, and then the lady is always in a squatted position. She squats. She's doing her gardening, and it took me back to a video I saw, anti-aging exercise, where they talked about Asians that squat, that they squat to do almost everything. They squat
Oh
to
yeah, yeah. I lived
do
in
almost,
Japan for a while.
yeah,
I know.
yeah, and it elongates their life without even knowing. So that active lifestyle that they engage in, be it gardening or just being on the streets and squatting in
And
that
walking instead of driving. Like, I was in Japan
walking
and
instead
people
of
are like
driving.
have bicycles and they walk. They don't have the cars, in
Yeah,
downtown Tokyo. I lived there for years.
and
And
most of them
people
are rich
don't have
people.
cars. They walk,
Yes,
they have bicycles.
exactly.
People
They are
riding
rich.
bikes everywhere.
Yes. But now, even my own ancestors, they trekked to farms, they worked long hours, to do what they needed to do to survive. They relied on organic food, and most of them lived longer than the folks that we have right now. So I think as a human race, we need to relax. We are running too fast. We are running faster than our shadows. We need to take a deep breath and kind of slow down a bit,
Yeah,
because everyone
downtime.
is just in the capitalist world where everyone wants to make money, and not caring about the damage they are leaving behind. Everyone is just going about doing their thing, and I think we need to watch it. So for me, um, the music that I do encompasses all of these things, everything that has to do with life, um,
It's
effective.
nourishment for the soul. Like we said, it's like what you're doing with every sound is nourishment for the soul. Like what you're trying to heal people with music.
Yeah, that's what if you want to meditate, tranquility is there. There's a song, Tranquility, like it takes you back to the 1600s. You will feel like you're listening to Beethoven.
Mhm.
Like the song sounds old, it's vintage, it's beautiful. There is jazz music. Someone listened to Beach Waves on the album, and he said, "Oh, this song reminds me of nightlife in New York." For me, when I was creating it kind of put me on the islands. It put me, and I've been to Barbados,
Oh,
um,
Barbados. Yeah, my
and
wife's
yeah, I just loved how simple life was. People go to the beach, they swim, they have no worries. The roads are tiny but good. The people are very warm, very lovely.
a lot
So
slower. Like the life doesn't isn't as fast as like New York or
it's
LA,
not it's
right?
not it's not as fast. People are not in a hurry to get to where they are going to, but they get there eventually. Um, Life is pretty organic and beautiful. Beautiful women. Everything is just good. Um, so Beach Waves is a song that takes me to that part of the world where life is just one big El Dorado and people are just having fun and enjoying their life. Um, so if you want to dance, there is original, there is soccer. So there are danceable songs. If you want to be in your hip mode, there is Beast. And then there's also another hip hop song on the album titled Buffalo Vibes, um, which is Buffalo for every place I go to. The first place I live is going to be my own hometown in that place.
Uh-huh.
So when I came to America, the first place I lived because I have family in Buffalo, was Buffalo, and I people were warm. I would get on the streets and people were like, "Oh, I like the way you dress. Oh, I like the way you," and I had very positive vibes.
Hmm.
And then we were in the basement one of those days having a few drinks, and some guys who were also rappers came around, and they were like, one of them was like, "I know Buffalo like the back of my hand. I can take you around Buffalo. Buffalo is my place." And I slept that evening. I woke up the next day and I was hearing "dun, dun, 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 dun," in my own head, like Buffalo, my people are savage. Dun, 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 dun. Buffalo, my home is a rampage. And that was how I got the song.
Yeah, you just feel it. Well, yeah, you like you live in a place, you get the vibe from that place, and you kind of bring it into your music, right?
Yes, and that was how I got Buffalo Vibes, and the producer delivered on the production. A friend of mine was in the studio and he was just doing, "Ooh." It was just making some sounds, and it was like, okay, that sounds very nice. We added it to the song, and I ended the song with "Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow." Let it snow, let it snow. Let it snow, let it snow. Because it snows a lot in Buffalo.
Yeah, it's the
Um,
Northeast. Yeah, well, it's not. Well, yeah, you get that. You get that. I'm a New Englander, so I know.
yes, it's always crazy. I talked about the Buffalo Bills, the street where I live, the people I've met here. So for me, all of those different parts of me, if I don't express them, I'll feel sad. And I really want to take the message to the world that every musician should be themselves, be
Yeah,
vulnerable,
you're
be
authentic,
bold.
vulnerable, and authentic, and I think it's real important that you're bringing that out because I think a lot of people feel like they have to. They're in a comparison trap. They've
Yeah,
gotta be like, whatever is now, they've gotta be now. And
yeah,
maybe they're actually thinking something that's, like, not in the moment. Like, it's not what's popular now, but it will be what's popular. And
hmm
if they try to do what's now, well, that's already being done, right? So maybe you should stick with what you were thinking about.
and we know that no idea is original, but whatever comes to you, if you don't take it, somebody else will use it. If you don't, if okay, Burna Boy just released an album right now, and that was some like 2 weeks ago. Um, he kind of leaned into this same every sound kind of idea. He had a song that sounded a bit country. He had some Afrobeat songs. He had, you know,
Mhm.
so you could, and what that told me was that when you're thinking of something, someone else is thinking about the same thing.
Yeah.
You think it's a novel idea, but the universe is passing that message around to different people. Like, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? So it's fun being able to. For me, I'm not just doing it because I want to do it. I'm doing it because I enjoy doing it.
Yeah,
I
you enjoy it.
enjoy.
That's what well,
I,
that's what you like, you're where you are. Like, if you're a musician, like, if where you are is, I want to be, like, within my element, like, you want to do what moves you.
mhm.
And if you're a musician and you're not doing what moves you, then what are you doing?
Yeah. And how I come up with songs sometimes is like the Quavo's anthem that I did with Quavo, right? Um, I actually wrote that song for Quavo because he was working on his album. I had seen him on the news. I was like, okay, this guy's working on his album, and if I could, I'd like to write something for him. And then he had that issue with Sawiti where he took his Bentley from her. There was some controversy
Mhm.
and all of that stuff. And I was in my car. I was going to drive to my manager's house, and the radio was playing a particular beat, and I was just singing Quavo, 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 because I had taken Quavo's side in his beef with Sawiti. So it felt like I was doing an anthem for my own side of the beef. But that was how I came about that song. I got to my manager's house, I fleshed out the song, and in a couple of weeks, we had produced the song, sent it to his team, and he didn't want to put it on his album because he was already done with the direction he wanted the album to go and all of that. And he said he can still feature on the song if he want. And we were like, no problem. I mean, it's good for my catalog if he does the song, and that was how we did that song. But it came from me just sometimes I can assume the form of a musician if I know your sound and a song, and maybe I'm feeling your music that period.
Mhm.
A song can come to me in that voice, in that tone, in that style,
Mhm.
and I just put it down. Sometimes it's pride that makes musicians not want to take something they feel like, oh, this thing is, I think it sounds too close to this person's style, um, so I don't want to do it. But I think if the universe or if God brought that idea to you, if you don't take it, someone else will
Well,
use it.
you should just do it. I mean, a lot of times I think it's like, if something comes to you, put it out in the world, and the world will assess it. Like, I try.
Do with it as it pleases.
Yeah, just do it. I mean, I think because if you have so many people have things on the cutting room floor, and then when they put out the archive, everybody says, "Well, how come they never put that out?"
Yeah,
It's like you find out, it's like, yeah, maybe you should have put it out.
yeah. So yeah,
So I want to thank you. We always hit the hour mark before we ever admit it. We hit it, and I've had a great time talking to you. I think it's been really informative to have your perspective on music and life.
the
And
pleasure is all mine. Thank you
uh,
so much. Thank you so much for having me. Giving me your platform to share my message with the world. We're coming. We're coming. We're coming for the top prize. We're coming.
well, we got your website, the Maple Grove Entertainment, Every
Yeah.
Sound. We got your Instagram, Mr. ZeXzy there, and both of those are fully clickable.
Yeah.
When you get onto the platforms we've been live on, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Kick. We'll be on Spotify Video Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Facebook, many other channels. By tomorrow, we'll send you a landing page, and so you guys will get that plus the individual links, and we'll do some AI clips that will push on our TikTok. And if we'll tag you on TikTok and Instagram stories and reels and YouTube shorts. But I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's your boy, the Z, the E, the X to the ZY. ZeXzy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.